You know the saying, once you drive the car off the lot, it loses half of its value. But is that really true? And which cars hold the best value?
Yeah, the company iSeeCars just put out an interesting study about car values here in Southern California. And joining us to talk about it, Karl Brauer, executive analyst. Thanks for joining us, Karl. And before we get to the results, talk about how you came up with this list.
Yeah, you know, we looked at 800,000 vehicle sales of 2016 models, so 5-year-old models. And that way we got a good sense of real-time transaction prices and how those cars are priced now 5 years after they were new.
And Karl, what car holds its value the most here in SoCal, and why is that?
Yeah, so the car that does its best is the one I'm standing in front of right now, the Jeep Wrangler. Now, this is a car that's got kind of legendary resale value in terms of not losing it. And you look at this vehicle and it looks pretty much like it has for about 4 or 5 decades, right? So among the reasons this car holds its value so well is that they have a classic look that never goes out of style. They've also got an incredibly dedicated fan base. I'm here in Moab, Utah right now, and they call this kind of Jeep town. And you walk around this town with all these natural rock formations and all this great off-roading, and there's nothing but Jeeps here. So it's almost like a city that loves Jeeps. And so there's just a huge fan base for these vehicles. They never go out of style. They hold their value.
And what about the ones that don't hold their value, right. Karl? I'm wondering if I have one.
Yeah, so, you know, electric cars in general, they kind of are up against a bad circumstance in that they have this $7,500 credit, federal credit, most of them when they're sold. So if you have a $40,000 EV, it's really $32,500 the minute it rolls off the lot because you didn't pay that $7,500 up front. And then that comes right back as the years go by on top of whatever else it's losing. So something like a Nissan Leaf, it loses after 5 years 64% of its value. And that's in comparison to this Jeep here, which loses 8%.
Wow.
So 8 times as much value loss. And this is why it's important for consumers. You know, you're out looking for a car to buy. Remember, at some point, you're going to get that car either traded in or sold. And if one of them is going to lose 8% and one of them is going to lose 64%, most of them are in between.
Yeah.
You want to know that. So you know which car to buy, not just for today, but for the years in the future when you want to get rid of the vehicle.
So speaking of trading it in or selling your vehicle, how do you increase or maintain your car's value?
Yeah, so beyond all the usual things, you know, you don't let it get beat up. Maybe if you can keep it indoors and just reduce the signs of wear. You also want to go to multiple dealers when it's time to get rid of it. And right now, used car prices are through the roof. So you're actually in a good place if you're trying to get rid of a vehicle. And it's perfectly okay to make dealers bid against your car or different dealers to see what they'll give you. You know, they're good at trying to get the most money out of you. It's fine at this point in time to try to get the most money out of them with the market we've got.
And Karl, speaking of that, I recently had to purchase a car, and I have to tell you, dealing with a car dealer right now is a nightmare. The gimmicks they've come up with. Some guy wanted to charge me $1,000 for nitrogen in the tires. I was like, what are you talking about? Should buyers wait now, or is there anything they can do?
If you can wait, now is not the best time to buy. And you just explained the reason why. The demand for new and used cars is so high that whatever normal tactics that you feel like dealers might use on you, they've amped it up because they feel like if you don't want the car, there's someone in line waiting behind you to get the car. And they're probably right, depending on the car and the market. So if you can avoid buying a car at all right now and just hang on to your current one, and maybe in the next 6 to 12 months, things will subside. We'll get the microchip supply up, and we'll get new car supply up, and then people will trade in their current cars and used car supply will go up. So it's all tied together, and we just got to get the production of new cars back up again.
All right, Karl Brauer, thank you so much for waking up with us early. Your information was very much appreciated.
Thanks, Karl.
Great. Thank you, guys.